Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Fancy backyard you have here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Obviously been a fan of PKs forever.
Yes.
One afternoon, it's like, you know, it'd be kind of cool to make a PK
Yeah.
one of these days.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, just kind of tinkering with stuff and really just naturally all the stuff that I've been thinking about that I wanted on the grill is really working out pretty good because we're kind of getting into holiday season. I've got a double cut prime rib here. It's really just 2 bones out of a prime rib export.
Okay.
So it's got the bone, it's got lip on, so it's got the spinalis in there. It's trussed, just to hold it all together.
Yeah.
I dry brine this overnight, par cooked it, internal temperature about 117 and a half, 115, somewhere in there. I wouldn't go much past 117. But anyway, so kind of let it rest a little bit. When you par cook something like that, you know, of course you can kind of do it, you can wait for everybody to show up, and then you can just finish it off later. So it's kind of cool for this kind of situation. I've got these fingerling potatoes. So I cook these in heavily salted water, tossed in the wagyu drippings from the prime rib. Essentially, we're gonna
I'm excited about
char these potatoes, but you just kind of keep them moving. Extreme heat, you definitely want to move them pretty quick. So
you want bits of crusty, and then
and then of course the oil is going to catch on fire. So so while this stuff is going, I'm gonna leave those there. This is some anchovy butter. The recipe for this is really put a stick of butter on the counter, let it get warm, throw in some fine sea salt, or Himalayan is good too, whatever you got really. And then mash up some anchovies, preferably good ones. If you don't care, maybe get the tube of the paste, it's fine. But we're just gonna put a little bit of that in here because the potatoes are gonna toss up in that eventually. So that right here is about as charred as you want to get it. So hopefully the ones on the bottom are catching up a little bit, but right in there, that is good. I'm just gonna toss these. Sheet tray.
Those smell amazing, by the way.
Well, here, you should grab one just front. It might be hot though.
Okay.
I want to leave these potatoes right here for a half second.
Okay.
While we dump the coals. It's going to hang out for a good long time. I mean, this is really going to take a while.
Yeah.
That's a huge piece of meat.
What are you waiting for that will tell you it's time to move it along and or flip it?
Well, so it's going to be a balance of internal temperature in the crust. So these things are tricky, and really, you know, this is a Wagyu. There's a ton of fat, you know, and this fat melts at a really low temperature also, which is why I have this log here. So if this flares up, I always have a safety zone.
Well, also when you flip it frequently, you're maintaining a steady temperature.
Yeah,
right?
and I really, you know, it's funny though, because the old school way is like, oh, 2 minutes on this side till it feels like your thumb. It's like, what?
Right.
That is so silly.
Yeah.
No, I'm a flipper.
Yeah.
I like to flip back and forth, and you really just kind of fine tune. And you also even have to cook quite a bit.
So you don't go for the, as you say, the 80s crosshatch, the Applebee's?
I always kind of do that for fun, and then I mess it up. So, you know, we've got this piece of wood here for flare-ups. This thing is looking really, really good.
Yeah.
But we're really just moving around. If we get a flare-up, we'll just kind of stick it over here. But also, when in doubt, pull out a thermometer. We're going for about 100 degrees on the inside.
And we talk about this, like, you know, there are times when you're a cavalier and you're like, I can touch it, I can, you know, doing chicken breasts or thighs or a strip steak. When you're like having a luxury cut, a prime cut like this,
don't risk it.
Don't mess it up. Yeah. I think we got some jealous neighbors right about now.
You know, when you par cook something, you don't really need to let it rest like you normally would. If you can touch it and it doesn't burn your hands with a lot of curse words, and you can cut it, it's good to go.
It's ready
so
to go.
I almost said a bad word there, so I'm gonna wait another minute. These are still super warm. That's awesome. Super duper perfect.
Really nicely cooked.
All right, let's cut some steak. Usually for something like this, I would just start like that and cut off the bones. If you had a larger knife, like a big slicer, that'd be nice. And see, you can see the outsides are a little more cooked. So maybe that's the cut that you're going to give to the people in your family that maybe don't like
Rare.
meat, Grandma.
It looks beautiful. Your slicing skills never cease to amaze me.
I may have been lead slicer at a busy barbecue restaurant at one point with a very short knife. Boy, you can really taste that wagyu. Hot diggity dog. So I do want to plate this eventually, but I just want to have another bite.
Yeah, have another bite. Wow.
That's so good. I don't like to toot horns, but toot toot. These potatoes have been getting a little extra hot. Crunchy salt territory.
Woo.
The other thing, horseradish cream sauce. So it's, equal amounts,
Yeah.
sour cream, prepared horseradish, and then champagne vinegar, rice wine vinegar, whatever you got laying around.
Yeah.
But add that to taste, maybe a squeeze of lemon zest, and then a good bit of salt.
Always finish it with lemon zest
Absolutely.
and salt.
Thanks for having me over to grill.
Thanks for coming over.
Oh, for sure.